by the Vishanti. Welcome to the Marvel Movie News. Today we're talking Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Iron Fist, X-23 and the Dark Phoenix Saga. Plus we've got Doctor Strange enthusiast Holly Conrad. Oh my God! Stay seated. We're coming right back to you.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Marvel Movie News.
Excelsior to your merry Marvelites! Hi.
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 Hello.
Hi. Welcome back to our some random number episode of the year. Number 79 and all, though.
That's what's important.
Episode 79. We're almost at 80.
Gosh. Then we're almost at 90, and then we're almost at 100.
What are we going to do for 100? That's going to be crazy.
Something crazy AF, as the kids like to say.
Something crazy autofocus?
Yes, crazy autofocus. We're going to have a party.
We'll do some autofocus, I guess. Whatevs. We are the Marvel Movie News coming to you live from... Oh my God, we didn't discuss where we're coming from. Kunlun. Today's a lot of Iron Fist news. We are the Marvel Movie News coming to you live from Kunlun, where we tell you all the news from all the studios and why you should be as excited as we are. Subscribe to us on iTunes at Marvel Movie News or find us through the Popcorn Talk Network, YouTube.com/Popcorn Talk Network, or you can find us through their website, popcorntalknetwork.com. Follow us on Twitter at Marvel News PTN or on Facebook /Marvel News Show. And guys, if you will tweet a link out to our show with a message telling people about how awesome our live chat is, Doom in the Booth will retweet you.
Doom wants to know your opinions on today's show.
Aww. And then he'll crush them.
And then he will crush them. Latverian style. I'm Matt Key at the Matt Key. We've got Meredith.
At M. Placco.
Koi's out sick today, so everyone send Koi, you're sick, love, I guess. That actually sounds dirty.
Yeah.
Don't send him sick love. Send him just encouragement to get better.
No, guys, send Koi sexy shout-outs to get better.
Yeah. Everyone record a video giving Koi a sexy get better.
Yeah.
Koi likes to do something called sexy shout-outs. Actually, he hates to do it, but the fans love to have him do it. I am talking with Ms. Holly Conrad. We're both wearing our Doctor Strange cloaks of levitation, our Eye of Agamotto.
True.
You have one of the best Doctor Strange cosplays I've ever seen.
It's pretty solid.
It's a labor of love. It's a labor of love.
And it shows.
Labor of love, but like it's an amazing. Like everyone, right now, drop what you're doing, put this on pause, go look up Holly Conrad, Doctor Strange, and prepare to be just like be amazed. So, Holly, why don't you tell all of our fans where they can find you, who you are, what you do?
Yeah. Well, I'm Holly Conrad. I'm Commander Holly on YouTube.
At Twitter, right?
And or Holly Conrad on Twitter, Commander Holly everywhere else.
Gotcha.
Twitter was different. Fancy Twitter.
Fancy Twitter. All right.
Yeah. So, I play video games on my channel, and I also do cosplay, and I do all that kind of fun stuff. I'm a huge fan of Doctor Strange, obviously, and I love birds. And that's my some of my things.
You've got pigeons at home.
I have pigeons at home. I rescue pigeons. I play them ukulele in my free time. That's true. So I love cosplaying. I love making stuff, and I love just being a fan of weird stuff.
Yeah. You are the only person that I know that is at least as big a fan of Doctor Strange as I am. Maybe more. So.
I can definitely, like, just the 30 minutes before we started the show, it was so adorable to watch these two, like, oh, well, this was one of my favorite scenes. Oh, did you see this panel? I'm like, oh my God, when Doctor Strange, it was so cute to watch them because as most of you guys know out there, that I've only come into the Doctor Strange lore through the, movie news and through Matt's love and the new comic book series. So hearing them talk about, like, the history of Doctor Strange going back to the 70s, I'm like, oh my God, I have to go pick up these books now. It really,
oh man,
I'm hoping to have them get into some of this stuff today for you guys to learn even more about.
The Englehart Brunner run is gorgeous. It's one of my favorites. I'm actually rereading it right now. Like I'm around like issue 21, 22, rereading it right now. So my favorite is the Marvel Premiere series, the Shuma Gorath epic. That's my favorite
that
one.
One's amazing.
Where the Ancient One dies and Doctor Strange becomes Sorcerer Supreme again. Yeah. He's become and not become like 3 times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At least.
At least.
he's like Daniel Jackson from Stargate, who just like keeps getting resurrected.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is that Doctor Strange's way of like his Phoenix Force, where he dies and comes back again? He just becomes the Sorcerer Supreme and not because every
whenever he gives it up, it's for his own reasons.
yeah.
The first time is because the Ancient One is like, in order for you to be the Sorcerer Supreme, you have to be a god and be completely separate from humanity. And he's like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So never mind this
okay.
whole Sorcerer Supreme thing. But then it turns out that that's not the case, and there's this whole like weird coalition of sorceress wizards outside of time. It's weird. So
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
One would say it's strange.
It is. Yeah.
That pun is so
I
long.
know.
Oh my god.
God.
Where'd the sound effect come from?
That's Doom.
magic.
That's from Latveria.
There are many Latverian sound effects in here.
Guys, can you teach me how to do? How to?
So
Well,
you have to
okay.
start out like this.
Yeah,
This
you
is just
start-
like rock on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to practice until you can do it
Just
with this.
do it.
Because
Yeah.
it is, when I first started dressing as Doctor Strange, I couldn't do this, so I
Yeah.
had to do the wrong hand.
So
I had
like-
to teach myself.
I had to
yeah,
teach myself.
but
like this?
It's not.
Yeah.
That's Spider-Man down
Oh.
here. His fingers are brought up.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God.
But you can,
that's-
you can do it like this too,
Yeah.
because it's really hard to do.
Wow.
So,
Train
like,
yourself, and I'm better at it
That's-
with my right hand than my left.
Yeah,
but-
well, yeah, because like obviously Spock, I can live
Yeah.
long and
Yeah.
prosper on one hand.
Do you want to hear something really sad? You probably do, huh?
Yeah.
There are times when I meditate, like when I'll be at home meditating, that I'll be like, I should do the Doctor Strange hands and just see if
Oh.
that does anything for me.
I practically learned meditation because of Doctor Strange.
Yeah. I mean, he's so. We can talk. We'll talk later. We'll talk later.
So I love
We've got a whole block of Doctor Strange,
Okay.
but for the two of us later in the show. So let's start off with some very quick mentions. You guys feel free to comment on this stuff if you want, but like this is like, hey, here, this stuff happened. So Jon Favreau is the EP on Infinity War, like he just brought in as one of the
Cool.
EPs, which makes total sense
Yeah.
because he was producer director on Iron Man, Iron Man 2. He started the MCU, and he now has Jungle Book and movie in theaters, which is probably going to do like at least $1 billion worldwide.
Yeah, I mean they've already signed on for Jungle Book 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is it out already?
Yeah,
It's
Jungle Book.
it's
Yeah.
out,
geez.
and it seems to be like this year's Lego movie where everyone's like, "Holy crap, that's a good movie!"
Interesting.
Like,
Yeah.
remember when you went to see Lego movie, you're like, "Oh, I've heard this is good," and then you
Yeah.
watch it, you're like, "Holy, oh my god, this is the greatest movie of all time!" It appears like that's people's reaction to the Jungle Book. So it makes total sense that they brought him in. Maisie Williams wants to be a part of the New Mutants. So a couple weeks ago, we reported that she had been cast or was being looked at and was in talks. Then it turns out we were debunked on air by Doom. Thank you, you jerk. And then, but she's apparently wants to be a part of it. So
Hey, I'm all like if she gets to be Ronnie
Sinclair,
Yeah, Ronnie
yeah.
Sinclair. I would absolutely love her as Wolfsbane. That would be great.
She's dead on perfect.
Also,
for it.
we know that there's only 2 more seasons left of Game of Thrones. They just got picked up for season 7, but I think like long term they're looking at 8 seasons total. So she should start looking at the next thing.
Yeah,
The
well,
books do end.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
We don't know when or
But-
how,
we don't
but
know
they
when.
do.
Yeah.
The TV show will end before the books
Right.
do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Captain America: Civil War is tracking to open very well. I didn't look up like the box office numbers in terms of like how like if it's gonna like if they're expecting it to be the #1 movie of all time.
Yeah,
kind
no,
of
it's
thing.
really. I mean, like, there's a
But-
couple people who are reporting. Like, so I tend to. Scott Mendelson at Forbes is my go-to for all that stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
That's good to
I
know.
follow him for all his stuff.
But it's tracking to open at over 175 million in one
believe it.
weekend, and that's just domestic. That's not
Yeah.
international. Of course, Civil War doesn't. It also has a different international release. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Where Dawn of Justice was like, it's everywhere in the world right now. Like Civil War is going to be a little scattered.
Given all of our friends who have seen this movie except for us and have said it's fantastic,
I get to
I'm
see
sure it's
it,
gonna do
I
well.
think, next week, a little bit early. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm not as early as that, but I'm still pretty excited.
Don't express your rage on us, Dad.
I could have gone one of the big showings, but I was at
man.
Emerald City. Womp womp.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I know. Oh no, I was out. I was having too much fun.
Oh
Yeah.
darn! I was having fun at a convention.
Yeah.
Not in this state. Daredevil showrunners are now on to Defenders, so like that's
So wait, is Defenders happening?
Defenders is definitely happening. And Charlie Cox a couple weeks ago, I think when he was doing a show in the UK, said that they're planning to actually shoot Defenders.
Oh, wow.
Like this year, like later this year, around like September.
It's not the act because they can't use half the character. They can't use
Well, it's
Silver
gonna-
Surfer.
no,
No,
it's
but
gonna
it's
be-
gonna be like Fearless Defender sort of thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it'll be
okay.
Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil. And the rumor I've heard, I know, right?
Yeah, it's not the classic defenders of
no.
Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, Namor, and
Yeah.
Hulk.
And I don't know if this has been confirmed yet, but the rumor I heard is it's going to be a 4-part miniseries.
Nice. That's awesome.
Oh, 4.
That's one of the latest rumors I heard floating around.
Man.
I'd
so.
always heard 6, but 4.
Yeah, maybe
I'm still
4 to
happy
6.
with
I
I'm
don't
four.
know.
so
Yeah.
sad Namor isn't it. Namor is so
I know.
funny. Like
Yeah,
he's
he's
one
such
of
a
my
ridiculous
favorite
character.
characters. He's
Yeah.
so mean. Like it's so funny.
He's one of their first. He was in Marvel
Yeah.
#1.
Yeah.
Oh, 6 would make more sense.
I know.
Have you ever read Namor #1 from the Submariner from Marvel from the
No,
first
I've
Marvel?
never read his first one.
The artwork, Bill Everett, it's beautiful. Like I was like, oh my god, this actually makes me want to read more Namor, like Golden Age Namor, because the artwork is
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
It's gorgeous. It's like one of the prettiest books from the Golden Age. I
That's
think.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out because
Yeah.
I love his character. I read some of his later stuff, and he's just so funny and mean.
Yeah, he's such a
He's
jerk.
an awful
is.
person.
Yeah, he's a
really
terrible,
is.
terrible man.
That's why I
man.
love him. He's so terrible.
So New Mutants have finished their second draft, so we're like one draft closer to
Nice.
them being done. It's not big news, but all right.
I'm excited.
So this has been funny. This has gone back and forth for a couple of weeks now. Maybe like 6 weeks. I think this has been going back and forth. Infinity War, according to screenwriters Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, will not have 67 characters in it.
Okay.
no.
Okay. Good to know. Good
So
to know.
I think it was actually at a Wizard World show that the Russos said, "Oh yeah, there's like 67 characters."
Wasn't that one of the ones you moderated for?
No, I think it was a
Okay.
show after the one that I
Okay.
moderated, and
Well,
like that got picked up on the internet, and I was like, wait, when they said like, they didn't say definitely has.
Well, I mean, technically, it's going to have 67 characters. They might not all be named, but think about all like the extras and stuff.
Well,
I
no.
mean,
yes, granted, but like the
I know.
rest of the world took it as like,
I
oh
know.
my god, we're gonna have
I remember
67
that.
heroes.
Well, do you remember when Doom made the list for us and we were
Yeah.
actually trying? I mean, that was good work on that Doom. That was
Yeah.
very thorough. But
I have a lot of time on my hands.
Well, ruling a Latverian
Yeah.
kingdom,
It's not as much work as you
really,
think.
I mean, you have servants for that.
exactly.
They did clarify what they meant by the 67 characters. That
Yes.
was the amount of characters on their tracking board when they
Exactly.
first
Yeah.
walked
Oh,
in.
that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what this story is that like the screenwriters were like, we don't know where that happened. Like we've got like 67 characters on our board. None of them are in the script. Like we're figuring out what characters even go in it still.
Kind
So
of like fans,
everyone calm down.
You're so dedicated.
Yeah, but like I don't want to see a movie with 67 characters in it. That's way too many. Like
Jesus,
Yeah.
that's like Age of Ultron and Dawn of
Oh,
Justice
man.
had the worst child ever.
yeah, yeah, and then
Yeah.
added the entire cast
Yeah.
of Harry Potter. They're like, like you can't follow that.
That's
you
a
can't follow
fanfic
that.
I don't want.
Yeah.
Oh man. There's already a lot of characters in Civil War.
I
Like even in
know.
the
Yeah.
trailer, I'm just like,
I can't. I
Skip it,
can't.
skip it,
Yeah,
skip
I'm
it.
like Black Panther. You haven't even shown up yet. Like, what are
No.
you doing?
What do you do? And Spider-Man, like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god.
Yeah, it's just like it's very overwhelming.
Yeah, and then you've got like Scarlet Witch, who's like,
know.
she's got her powers like all the way up now. Like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so
Sorry.
excited for this movie. I hear good things about Civil War. We've got our
I know.
Marvel
Everyone keeps telling me.
box right here that the voice of Doom has provided us with our pop vinyl Civil War.
They're so cute. I love the like pearlized metal. It's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the little Iron Man. Super
It's
cute.
very pretty.
It's super
Very, very pretty. By the way, any of the pop finals that are on our table belong to Doom. That's from Doom's personal collection. All right, so
I have a problem.
Yeah, we know what Doom collects in his spare time.
yeah, now we know what
gosh, the little
Doom's castle looks
Daredevil?
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
so cute.
And an Ant-Man and a Giant Man. Look at
Yeah.
the little
Oh
Ant-Man.
no,
So tiny.
It's amazing.
The cutest thing on this table, I think, is probably Giant Man's butt. It's
Yeah,
a
it
cute
is
little.
Oh my God,
pretty.
yeah,
He's got a
very
cute
good
little
butt.
booty.
It's
Got a
true.
cute little booty.
Yeah.
All right, well let's actually talk about some of this news now.
Okay.
Joss Whedon apologized for Age of Ultron. Like
Wait, no.
not for the movie, for his meltdown post movie, like leading up to the movie
Okay.
and everything. Like, did you hear about
No,
any of
I
that?
read that article.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It was real sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel so bad for him. 'cause
Yeah.
I don't blame him for anything.
No.
Yeah.
He was probably doing his best. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
oh, absolutely. He was.
I'm sure it was just like bureaucracy, you know?
Yeah, it was like it all came from the studio. Like the studio, and we'll actually get into this a little bit more with Doctor Strange, but like the studio had like certain mandates. They had certain films that they had to advertise for and like
Yeah.
start setting those stories for, which is ridiculous. They don't like. We're all gonna go see Thor
know.
Ragnarok. We don't need to
Right.
set.
Yeah.
We don't need to set that 5 years in the future
I
with Thor
know.
going to like having a weird vision and like disappearing
It
and
was
like.
so bad. But I just feel bad for Joss because I think I think the pressure of working on a major motion picture, I don't want to say it was out of his league, because I think he's totally capable of doing it. I just don't know if this was the best venue for him to do that. Like, maybe do some personal projects first that you cut your teeth on to allow for that.
Yeah.
And it just sucks that, sometimes it's great having the protection of a giant studio behind you if you know how to work within those parameters.
Yeah, and I think he showed that he knew how to work within the parameters with Avengers.
He's such a creative individual that he's the man who wants to tell his story, and when he's hamstrung like that, it really shows.
I think he kind of created his own worst enemy in a way by showing like what he could do with Avengers. Like Avengers was it's not a perfect movie, but for like when it came out, it was like, oh my god, I don't know what to do with myself. Like this is the best movie ever. Like people I know who aren't comic book fans were texting me like, I can't believe how good this movie is and how much I loved it. But
I feel he had a lot more creative freedom back then than he did with Avengers 2.
Exactly. So he showed what was possible with Avengers, what he could do. And how you can sort of like bring one phase to an end and then start a new phase. And I think Marvel like saw that and overreached with him a little bit.
He's such like a smart, passionate person, and that's really, I feel like he's so passionate and so creative that anyone who's that is going to be stifled by a studio. And no matter what, matter what you're doing, because if you've got all of those people and all that, like, they're going to come down and be like, well, we need this whatever because like of this money reason. Like, and that's just being an artist. And I don't blame him at all for having that kind of hardship. Cause
absolutely.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that he's writing again. He's like actively being creative, and that's wonderful. Because
get back on that horse, Joss Whedon. We're rooting for you. Get back on.
His quote was, "Ultron, I'm very proud." And there's a lot more to it, but I'm just going to read a little bit of it. Ultron, I'm very proud of. There were things that did not meet my expectations of myself, and then I was so beaten down by the process. Some of that was conflicting with Marvel, which is inevitable, and a lot of that was about my own work, and I was also exhausted. And we right away went and did publicity. So
it's a lot. It's a lot to put on a person.
Yeah, exactly.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, I've said it before, but I think like the honest trailer for Age of Ultron said it perfectly. It was like, guys, I think we broke Joss Whedon. Like it's
so true.
It's so true. It's so true. Like I've never seen a man like that beaten down. Like,
well, I hope he got some good rest and recovery, and he comes back swinging.
Yeah.
So he said, we'll finish it off with the things about Age of Ultron that are wrong frustrate me enormously, but I got to make an absurdly personal movie about humanity and what it means in a very esoteric and bizarre way for hundreds of millions of dollars. The fact that Marvel gave me that opportunity twice, this and Avengers, is so bonkers and beautiful, and the fact that I came off as a miserable failure is also bonkers, but not in a cute way.
Oh no.
So he acknowledges like his own shortcomings and all that. So I just thought that was worth reading because we all love Joss and we all want him better.
Well, and I respect that. I think anyone who can take a step back and look at, be like, hey, maybe I handled this not in the best of ways, but I acknowledge that, and I owe it to myself, and maybe I owe it to my fans to just be like, hey, you know what? But we're past that, and we're moving on now, and I think that's the key here.
Have I told you my personal story of meeting Joss Whedon?
Yes, but I don't think you've told Holly.
I met him like after I was done with Groundlings, the Sunday Company Groundlings. I met him at a restaurant down close to there, Village Idiot on Melrose, and he took a picture with all of us and everything, and then everyone that we took a picture with, our group, our Sunday Company, left, and in the vacuum I was left with Joss Whedon. Like they were like, oh, let's go look at the pictures, these are amazing, and they were kind of like all off to the side giggling, and I was like, I'm left alone with Joss Whedon. Age of Ultron is 2 weeks from coming out. I've seen all the trailers. I've been talking about it on my show, and I just stared at him, and he it was weird. He stared at me like, you guys called me over, then you all left except for you. It's up to you to talk to me. Yeah. And he just and he wasn't being a dick about it. He was just like,
this is awkward.
It was just this awkward stare, and I was like, and I just looked at him and I said, so Age of Ultron looks really good. And he goes, yep, we're trying.
Oh, no.
And I go, yeah. And then there was another terrible awkward pause, and I said, Mr. Whedon, I'm just going to be very honest with you right now. I'm absolutely freaking out, and I don't know what to say to you. I highly suggest that you leave before I make a fool out of either one of us. And he was like, okay. And he shook my hand and left. And I didn't know what to do about it. So
That's so funny.
I've heard the story 5 times now, and every time, Matt, I love
Your
it.
brutal honesty.
I know.
Your brutal honesty.
I didn't want to make a fool out of either one of us, you know.
amazing.
I
That's
had
good.
1,000 questions running through my head, but I didn't even want the answers to them because I wanted to enjoy the movie. And
exactly.
Can't tell if you're joking or not.
oh, I'm not. This is not a joke.
I hope you get the chance to moderate for him sometime in the future, so you can call back to that.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't
know.
wait.
I met. He was the producer on a movie, the Comic-Con episode 4, a Fans Hope movie I was in.
Yeah.
And so I met him and did a live stream. I met him a bunch of times, got to chat with him. I did a live stream
so
with him,
cool.
and every time I was still nervous every time. But he was always super nice. So it was like I was always like, oh, okay, yeah, oh, thanks, Mr. Reed, goodbye.
Well, 'cause it's, you know,
But he was always so kind. Like he picked the video that I applied for that thing. Like he picked it. He was like, we were one of the first videos he picked and stuff. And so like,
That's so cool.
like, but he was always like, I always just got this feeling from him. He was just like, he was one of us. Like it was
Yeah.
never weird. Like he would always see me and wave and like be like, say, hey, like he was always like, I just always got that feeling that he was just like a fan.
he's
like
just
all
a
of
giant
us.
nerd, yeah.
And that's why
that's so good to
and
know.
that's why like when I read that article, I was so like heartbroken for him because I'm like, you have that same passion that all of us have for all of these things, and you're dealing with bureaucracy, which we all know is just a nightmare. But
And it just like it grinded him down. Like
Yeah.
he's like, I want to do this amazing thing, and they're like, no.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's go on and talk about some more amazing things. Luke Cage is going to be scored by one of the members of A Tribe Called Quest.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Everyone gets to see how terrible I am at
okay
dancing.
with this.
Just this
I
by
am
itself
just-
is everyone's like,
this
wow,
is-
he's
I
awful.
dance like everyone's grandma. That's fine.
I like it's the strange off happening right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, you
I know.
can't tell me that Doctor Strange dances any better than
I
this.
know,
Like,
right?
no,
That's,
come on.
And that's one reason I love him. He is
he
me.
doesn't know it.
Oh, so which member of a Tribe Called Quest is going to be scoring this?
Ali Shahad Muhammad.
Nice.
As Chio Hadari Coker, the showrunner, says, it's very Luke Cage and the score. It's very sophisticated. I mean, it's got a 90s hip hop vibe, but it's really forward thinking. We have Adrian Young and Ali Shahid Muhammad doing the score for us.
Oh, okay.
Adrian
So
Young,
it's yeah.
I looked up some of his music and was listening to it this morning, and that dude is like
Oh, solid, man. It's so
amazing.
good.
It's
Like,
really good. Like go
Yeah.
look up Adrian Young
Yeah, I
right
mean-
now and listen to him. He's
Well,
great.
so it's you know, with the unfortunate news of Prince's passing
Oh
today,
my God.
I actually got into a conversation with a friend of mine, Jimmy J, who runs the amazing Comic Cons, and we were talking about like how my generation, born in the early '80s, we don't really have same icons. Like, you
Yeah.
know, my mom introduced me to Prince, which of course was sad, but who's my musical icon that I discovered? And I kind of realized a lot of it is hip hop artists.
Yeah.
So, you know, Tribe Called Quest, KRS-One, Dre, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, these are kind of my legends for
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
a lot of people, you know, that I came to on my own. And so knowing that Adrian and just Tribe is going to be doing this is a huge thing for me. As I say
awesome.
this, I totally acknowledge that I am a upper class white girl, but I was very fortunate to have a lot of multicultural influences
Yeah.
in my young age, and this is exciting. This is great, and I think this is going to set a really great tone and vibe for Luke Cage because there's a lot to address here.
Yeah, and speaking of Prince, you brought that up. Darcy at AJ Darcy,
Mm-hmm.
watching Marvel News live stream with Prince's Purple Rain full album in the background. Good use of my time.
Mm-hmm. That
Solid
was
work, solid
actually
work.
that was the first Prince album I ever heard because of my mom. So
Yeah. I think that's perfect. Like, that makes me even more excited for this. Like,
Yeah.
all I've seen of Luke Cage is that that tag at the end
Mm-hmm.
of Daredevil season 2.
Yeah.
A couple of pictures, and I've heard that, and I'm so excited for this. Like, it seems pitch perfect, like a pitch perfect match for.
except it's not like actually
What's
pitched,
her
like Elizabeth Banks isn't involved.
No, Elizabeth Banks is not
We're
involved.
not going to have Rita Repulsa just show up.
Get out, Meredith. Now we're going to move on to something that I know Meredith is going to enjoy talking about, and that is the rumor. I think it was from Heroic Hollywood. El Miami broke it. Just a rumor, not confirmed, that the Dark Phoenix saga is going to be the next X-Men film.
I'm curious. So when El Miami,
take it and run.
So when El
Take it and
Miami
run.
broke that, I like tweeted at him. I'm like, I hope you're not screwing with me, and he just like gave me a winky face. And I'm like, Umberto, don't you dare!
A winky face.
I know. So If you guys don't know, Holly and Matt, like Doctor Strange to them, that is Dark Phoenix to me. Even though I've gone Emma Frost blonde, but she, you know, growing up reading X-Men being my first comic book, Dark Phoenix Saga being probably like the epitome of stories for me in the Marvel universe, next to God Loves Man Kills, because let's be honest, that's like the definitive like story that everyone should read. But this is
that's God Loves Man Kills. Everyone go read that.
Yeah, please.
It's really
if you've
good.
never read it,
it's one of the best X-Men books out there.
And you don't have to read anything else other than that to understand X-Men. But Dark Phoenix Saga is the epitome of Jean Grey's story, and it's some of the best writing Chris Claremont era you're ever gonna get. And it basically it tells the story, and I'll try to do a rundown here real quick. X-Men are coming back from space, and Jean gets hit by some cosmic radiation and gets the Phoenix Force through her, and then they go back to Earth, and she is able to repair the M-Cran crystal, which happens to be in the Everglades of Florida, right by where I grew up. And
where the M-Cran crystal should
hangs
be.
out in, you know, BF Florida.
That's where Man Thing is.
Yeah, exactly. just chilling there in swampland. So they decide, wow, her powers are really scary, so we're gonna put some mental blocks on her so she's not going around overdoing it. And at that point, Mastermind sees an opportunity to get closer into the inner circle of the Hellfire Club. So he starts projecting his illusions, as Mastermind does, into the brain of Jean Grey, making her think that she is the descendant of Lady Grey, and he is Jason Wingard, and they have this beautiful, wonderful love affair in her head, and it slowly breaking down all these little blocks until at one point he kills Cyclops in her head, which causes her to go crazy, basically. And at this point, she thinks she's also the Black Queen of the Hellfire Club. So, in thanks for what Jason has done for her, she makes him go insane. Which is great, because what ends up happening when they rediscover Mastermind many years later is fantastic. But she does assume the Dark Phoenix mantle, and then goes off into space and devours a star, which destroys a planet full of people, and then the Shi'ar get involved, and then I don't really give a crap because I hate Shi'ar, but eventually she does end up dying. I'm so anti-Shi'ar, man.
Even like the Imperial Guard?
No, it's just space. I mean, really, it's the Starjammers more than anything I hate. But anytime
I love the
Starjammers.
Colt, did you hear that? She hates your ship.
Sorry, but just anytime that the X-Men go into space, it's never good. But basically, she ends up sacrificing herself during a trial, and it's one of the best moments for Jean Grey because she's not killed. Cyclops doesn't kill her. Wolverine doesn't kill her. She chooses to make that sacrifice herself, and it's honestly
because she realizes how out of control her power is. Yeah,
and it's one of the strongest written female moments in comics for that time. And it's it's just
maybe
fantastic.
Even like the history of comics, because she it's her own agency. She takes it on her own, and she's like, I need to end this.
Yeah.
I have the potential to be a terrible, awful force.
And not just that, but I mean, not just like, oh, she's just strong for killing herself, but everything that she goes through. You see so many for so long, females in comics were so one-dimensional, and you see that it's not just about being sexy or evil or strong. You just start to see so many layers. You also get to see a lot of Chris Claremont's perversion this time around with the Hellfire Club. And I'm like, someone's been hanging out in a lot of BDSM clubs at this time.
Right.
But, whatevs. But so the fact that they want to adapt the Dark Phoenix saga now is great. But I don't think they should in the second film of this new generation, because we're just now getting the introduction of the new young Jean Grey. We're not ready to understand Dark Phoenix. We need to get to know Jean. We need to get to know Marvel Girl. We need to get to know Phoenix first. I can't see them doing Dark Phoenix Saga as their second film, because what have we built up to make us care about that character yet? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen Apocalypse. Maybe there's a lot of her in X-Men. Like, maybe there's a lot more of her in X-Men Apocalypse than we know.
Oh, I suspect there is, but I just feel like we're not ready for it. But maybe that's just my hesitation, given how piss poor they handled it in X3.
Yeah, The Last Stand.
Yeah.
The X-Men movie that shall not be named.
Yeah. So, I mean, as much as, and I'll be very frank with you guys, I have no desire to see the Dark Phoenix saga as it was in the comics played out on screen, because you know what?
Because you don't want to see him go to space?
No, because we've already seen that done so wonderfully in the animated series.
Oh, you're right.
Because
yeah.
and my favorite thing about movies is I like when films take the central stories of the characters that we love and tell them in new and unique ways, because we've already read these stories. They're great the way they are. I don't need to see it page by page and scene by scene. So take what we love about it and make it new and exciting. But again, I just don't know if we're ready for Dark Phoenix. Maybe third one with Sophie. Maybe.
Yeah.
But we can do movie 2 with just Phoenix, regular Phoenix. You know?
So what movie, like what story do you think would be best adapted for the second one?
Well, no, I mean, I think we can see them. We can see the start of it because she doesn't go. You know, I would like to kind of see some of her like struggling with her power, struggling with. I mean, first of all, if we're getting straight up young Jean Grey, like I don't know what format are we getting her. As she discovers her powers in Apocalypse, are we gonna like? I don't.
You mean inside of Apocalypse?
Yeah, I don't know if she's already coming to us having had the telepathy for a while, because Jean has to struggle with that for so long.
According to all those like sources that I've read online about like where her character is in the film. It's that she's young, she's struggling with it. All the other students are afraid of her because they all recognize how powerful she is.
Yeah.
She's still learning how to control all of that stuff, but also recognizes how powerful she recognizes
I mean, she's
the powerful
an Omega
potential
level
she
mutant.
has.
Like she is one of the most powerful mutants in existence. I mean, the one thing they could be, since they have changed things so much, is that it could be that whatever happens at the end of Apocalypse triggers Dark Phoenix, and it's just going to be balls to the wall scary for the next film, and that would change things completely. Again, it's like I just don't know if we've earned it yet, and then maybe
that
that's
makes sense. But like
But what would I like to see? I mean, I'd like to see her struggle, and I want to see that. I don't want to see her just become Dark Phoenix. I want to see the Jean Grey Phoenix dichotomy, and I want to see her struggle. Because the beauty about Dark Phoenix, and I kind of glossed this over in my review of how she became, is that as Mastermind is breaking down her blocks, is that he's allowing her to feel emotions where she normally has closed herself off, and she starts to feel deep passion and deep, allowing herself to feel for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's such an incredible thing for a woman who's been so afraid of her own emotions, and that if she lets that go, she's going to let her power go. And I would love to see that played out.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of the actual story that they tell, if they stay true to the comics or not, I want to see a Jean Grey who has to grapple with the fact that I am insanely powerful, touched insane, and now I'm actually allowing myself to feel for the first time. And I think Sophie Turner has the emotional range to play that, and I would love to see that on screen.
I would love to see that. Now, do you think that if they go with the Phoenix, do you think that it'll be like the great celestial like force, or do you think it'll be like a darkness from within her? Because
they did the whole
X3 did like the darkness inside of her.
I think that if Fox wants to expand what they're doing and go build their own, build out there the way that Marvel has, they're going to go with a celestial force, because I think you can only
really hope they do.
you can only do so much
yeah.
without bringing in, because I mean, as much as I dig on space stuff, I would like to see Lilandra. I love Lilandra.
Yeah.
I really do. I think when I was younger, I just didn't like all the space stuff because it was written kind of poorly. It was.
Like, it's so strange. Like, it's such a strange time for the X-Men because they were such a terrestrial thing, and then Claremont takes them over with Cockrum, and then they all of a sudden they're like, we're going to space, and now we're going to hell. Oh, we gotta go save Ileana. Like, it's just whoa, what's going on?
I love the Ileana stuff. It's just the space stuff when I was younger, it was weird. I think because I liked how grounded the X-Men was.
Yeah.
So I think it just sits with me. Even though I didn't remember when we started Marvel Movie News, I started rereading from X-Men #1, and I finished that run. And the space stuff wasn't as bad as an adult.
Yeah.
So
I personally like the space stuff, but it is wacky.
But I also hate Cyclops, so I hate like.
Man, I hate Cyclops too. He sucks.
Man, he is.
He's the worst.
He sucks.
Yeah, he's the worst.
Absolutely worst. So that's my thoughts, man. I'm excited. Regardless, though, I'm excited. Like I want Jean, I want Phoenix, I want Dark Phoenix, I want all of it, and but we have to have a new Emma Frost, man. Because here's the thing: and the other thing that's so essential is the Jean and Emma dynamic, because they have such a great rivalry. And that I mean, it's so wonderful, and especially putting them there in the Hellfire Club. I want that.
May I throw this out there?
Yeah.
I don't think that they can do Emma because they had her in First Class.
I know.
So I don't
That's
think.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to bring her back. They do have Psylocke, and I think that
that's
they
true.
could sort of like retrofit her into the story to serve the same purpose as
No,
Emma
but
Frost.
Jean and Psylocke have always been friends. I can't see that happening. Like, you need a rival.
In the comics,
I
like that doesn't mean that that's not what they're going to do.
I
And
know.
like we all know that Fox will take like
Yeah.
they very liberally take from the
And
comics.
and then furthermore, what I would love to see follow up is give me Mr. Sinister, give me Madeline Pryor.
Oh my God,
that I want to see.
That would be awesome.
Would
Like a Mr. Sinister story. That would be great.
I've been dying for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Bryan Cranston for Mr. Sinister 2017.
I would vote him into office. All right, Wolverine 3 X-23 is rumored as a possible, like she might be joining the cast.
Can
of
I roll
Wolverine
my eyes out of my head on this story?
3. Why?
No, just finish it and then I'll
No,
give...
but that's like, I mean, like there was a casting call from Central Casting.
say the casting call for what it is.
All right, casting call from Central Casting is looking for stand-ins and photo doubles on Juarez, which is the production name of Wolverine 3, which is the, well, I just said that. And it's also shorter Caucasian, Hispanic, and Asian-looking females over the age of 21, and then they add specifically a height of like 4 foot to 4'11".
Okay. So here's the thing about why I don't think it's X-23. First off, has anyone ever taken out a measurement tape to see how 4 foot? And again, not that comics dictate anything, but Laura Kinney, according to the X-Men Encyclopedia, is 5'6". And now, again, height doesn't matter with actors.
Yeah.
Also, if they were going to cast young, they're not going to just cast short.
Yeah.
They would cast a younger actress, not someone over 21.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense.
So who do you think it might be?
I don't think it's that. I think it's just well, they're looking for stand-ins and extras. I don't necessarily think it's
just,
any.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible. 4 foot to 4'11". That's
Pretty short.
really short,
Pretty
guys.
short. Yeah. Superhero Hype is the one that reported like they heard that it's X-23, and then that got corroborated with this. Like this may not actually have anything to do with
I don't think it has anything to
X-23,
do with it.
But like a lot of news sites started saying
Yeah.
like, wait, well comicbook.com reported this casting call thing, and now Superhero Hype has heard a rumor that X-23 is in it. Here's what I like about X-23. And I don't know that she's joining Wolverine 3, and I think that it could be problematic to have her join Wolverine 3 because it's supposed to be taking place in the future.
Yeah.
But what I like about it is that maybe we get a female Wolverine because Hugh Jackman is never doing it again, and that would be amazing.
I know. I would personally love to have X-23. I just don't see that. Just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, is this even in the same universe as like the last X-Men movie? Like,
I think it's supposed to be, but
I'm
like
just
it's taking place in the
confused.
future. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just confused. Or like the same one as the Apocalypse one coming out. Is it that one? Like I don't know.
I don't know.
If,
Yeah.
if you did introduce her in the future Wolverine movie, you could then bring her into Deadpool and Cable and time jump her back.
Yeah, but then
they
you've
do
got
that.
a
It's
whole weird
confusing
time
and
jump.
craziness.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like,
But
Yeah, my thought is if they're doing the Old Man Logan storyline, they might be casting moloids, which are kind of like the sewer dwelling characters that end up kidnapping. You know, so
I feel like that would make more sense.
Yeah.
If they were doing that for sure, because on the timeline, I feel like that makes more sense.
yeah, like
But-
Morlocks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. All right. Well, I just hope that they do like a female Wolverine.
no, I agree. I would love to see it.
Because that's what they've done in the comics, and I love that.
Yeah,
they did that,
I just
so.
think that the casting call and the rumor are completely separate, and people trying to justify the two. I'm just kind of like, guys, take a step back from the fandom because
Yeah.
you know.
And take a look at the specs. It doesn't
Yeah.
actually really fit.
Because we also know, let's be honest, we also know how Hollywood casts people, and they're very specific about their leading material. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm not. I mean, this has just been an issue in the conversation a lot lately. It's like we've had a lot of talk about how Hollywood whitewashes stuff and everything, and the fact that they would cast someone of not a tall, beautiful height requirement. I as much as I'd love to see a wonderful petite lady cast in something. Let's just be honest, we kind of know how Hollywood works, and it's screwed up.
Yeah. So, well, let's jump away from that and go to Iron Fist, which we've got a little bit of news for.
Speaking of.
Speaking of. So this week we got news that Jessica Stroup and Tom Pelphrey have joined the cast as Joy Meacham and Ward Meacham, the children to Harold Meacham. The description is the children of Harold Meacham, Joy and Ward, have spent their lives building Rand Enterprises to its current standing in the world, only to have all their work put in jeopardy when Danny returns to claim his birthright. So Danny Rand being like returning, the Iron Fist returning from Kunlun.
But it's also his parents company too, right?
Well, it was Rand Meacham.
Okay.
Harold Meacham kills.
Kills the
his
parents.
parents.
Well, the dad, because he wants to be with the mom.
Yeah, it's wacky. The mom is ripped apart by wolves in the Kunlun Mountains as they run to, like, she's like, there's safety. Oh no, wolves! Die. Run, Danny, run. Danny gets away, lives for 10 years in Kunlun, trained by monks to be the world's greatest kung fu martial artist.
Oh God, I have to sneeze maybe.
No, no.
No, just keep talking.
Okay.
I'll see if it happens.
Okay. So these like the children, and especially specifically Ward Meacham. So Joy, I think, is probably going to have a better character arc if they follow the comics, because Joy witnesses. Well, she doesn't witness. She walks in on Iron Fist after her dad has been killed, and then believes that it was Iron Fist. So she holds a grudge against him for killing her dad when he actually didn't. So she becomes a big antagonist for him for his first few issues. Ward Meacham in the comics is actually Harold Meacham's brother.
Oh, okay.
So they chained him to a kid here. So it sounds like Harold Meacham probably dies pretty early on in the series. Joy and Ward become the main antagonists, along with like maybe Davos the Steel Serpent or whatever else. But so they're gonna probably be more of an antagonistic force. So
Interesting.
Maybe they'll be like the Fenris twins from the Ultimate Universe. Do you know?
I don't know what you're talking
Oh
about.
God! So in X-Men Ultimate stuff, there's the Fenris twins, and they run like an evil corporation, but they're also like really incestuous.
Oh.
So
Look,
same
I
with,
doubt it's that.
I hope not. That's always my joke whenever there's a brother and sister in Marvel. I'm like, oh, they're going to be incestuous, because also Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in the Ultimate Universe was just really weird.
Just really weird.
It was really weird.
Which is why it more or less went away. They're like,
But that's
we
also
like this
kind
character,
of
this
what
character,
the
and this
movies
character.
are
Put them
based
away.
on.
Loosely.
Yeah.
Loosely.
So that's always my fear. I'm like, this isn't Game of Thrones, guys.
So we've got our first on-set picks of Finn Jones and Jessica Stroup and Iron Fist this week, which is also kind of exciting. It's like, yay, it's going forward. I love the
Put my
way
glasses on to see.
Iron Fist looks. Like he looks so dirty and so homeless.
He looks so
He does.
Like, but here's what's funny. The first time maybe it's not
God.
funny. The first time I saw these, I was like, so Danny Rand lives at Venice Beach?
Yeah,
Like,
he
seriously.
looks like a surfer. He's
Yeah.
like surfer Iron Fist.
He is totally someone.
Surfer Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Like, I would like, if I saw him on the street, I would walk like 10 steps away.
no.
I would be like, please, I have a sandwich for you, but don't.
Yeah.
I
mean,
don't have meth for
Whee!
you.
Look at him running there.
So someone did I didn't get this picture, but someone zoomed in to get a close up of his phone. It's not a phone. It's a first generation iPod from like 2002.
What?
Something like that.
So he's still rocking that from
So
when he
he's
was
still
in.
rocking his
amazing.
his like first generation iPod.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And like, so like, I just love that because it looks like he's like, oh my God, the city's grown up without me for 10, like 11 years now. And
No, but
I'm
not gonna lie. He kind of looks like a meth addict, guys.
Oh no, he totally does.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
know, that's obviously intentional because he's like
Yeah.
homeless and needs shelter, and I don't know that he has access to any of his money, and that's why we see like the pictures of him like talking to Joy Meacham, like, I need your help, because they're also childhood friends. Like I read somewhere where they were childhood friends, and then like Danny Rand
Maybe
goes
they have
disappearing.
like a weird
and,
like love interest, but then she hates Iron Fist. It's like the reversal of like Karen and Daredevil.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
So,
this definitely looks like it's got that feel of the whole like Daredevil, Jessica Jones thing already, because it's a character whose main ability is martial arts.
Yeah.
So you've got that same kind of like feel. I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway, we thought we'd end our quick little talks on that. But now we're going to discuss a couple things. Marvel Phase 4 is going to be distinctly different from everything that's come before. So,
So new characters.
yeah, I really think so.
Or
I
new
think
cast
so.
at least.
Kevin Feige said, I think you look at the comics as a guide. Although certain titles may get relaunched or rebooted, the narrative exists on a never-ending continuum. And then he goes on to add, I think there will be a finality to moments of Phase 3, as well as new beginnings that will mark a distinctly different chapter in what will someday be a complete first saga made up of 3 phases. So it sounds like Phase 3 may sort of lead into Phase 4.
That's what we've thought.
But like it sounds like
But-
Phase 4 is almost going to be like, oh cool, we're starting anew. So like 2021 may see the very beginning of a completely new
Like a
Marvel
relaunch.
universe, like a relaunch. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna
Loosely
have to.
based on it, but like I think like we're probably going to get like some new Avengers.
Yeah.
I don't think any, like I think maybe the way that sounds to me is like there will be like 3 or 4 that carry over, but most of them are going to be like new or replaced or
Yeah, I mean, because at that point you're going to have to start recasting.
Yeah.
yeah, because contracts are up. Like that's just the reality.
And
of
there's
it.
going to be people
And
who are
they're-
like, we've done this for like 15 years, 20
Yeah.
years, guys. We want to move on.
Yeah.
You know, RDJ will never want to leave Iron Man, I'm sure. But
no, well, it's made him a billionaire,
Yeah.
but like.
I think he also loves it. I think like he
I think he
legitimately,
legitimately loves it. I mean, how could you come on?
I
Like,
know,
that would be
I know.
amazing. Like, oh, he loves it. How dare him?
I know.
Pish posh, Robert Downey. And then Joe Russo added, things always get deconstructed, right? You build things up and people enjoy the experiences you've built up, but then you kind of reach an apex or you reach a climax and a moment where you go, this structure is really becoming repetitious. We need to deconstruct this. That's what Civil War starts, and that's what leads into Infinity War. And he says that's the culmination of all the films. So it sounds like Infinity War is like, and we're done.
Well, you know, they can in Infinity War they can reboot everything with the Gauntlet. They have the ability to do a complete, like, you know, suddenly the universe is all mumbled. Like they can do that. So I can see them pulling a cosmic crossover X type event where the whole universe is rebooted.
Yeah. If I may though,
Yeah, go for it.
what I think they're like, what I'm hoping they do, is a much more diverse cinematic universe. I think Phase 4 is going to reflect all new, all different. I think it's going to reflect that line.
Yeah.
You know, like I really think
agree.
I think Spider-Man 3, like I cannot help but believe Peter Parker dies and Miles
know.
Morales comes in. And
Yeah.
like this
I
course
just want Kamala Khan.
Yes.
I love her so much.
I really
Yeah.
think we're gonna get her. I think we're
Yeah.
probably gonna start meeting her like in the Inhumans and stuff like
For
that.
sure. She's so
'Cause
amazing.
Such a popular character. She's Peter Parker for this
Yeah.
generation,
Yeah.
like across the board. She hits every mark. So I really think that we're gonna start getting that kind of stuff.
I agree.
You know, I think maybe Anthony Mackie will become.
Oh, I think
Captain
hands
America.
down, yeah, because it's.
You know,
I'm excited. I think we're gonna finally get. I want Kate Bishop so bad, guys. I want her so bad.
So I think we're going to get maybe like some Young Avengers stuff. I
Yeah.
think we're going to get an all new, all different sort of lineup. I really think that moving into Phase 4, that's going to be like, okay, cool. Like we got all the fanboys taken
Yeah.
care of. Now, like all you
Yeah.
white fanboys, are you happy? Can we please go do what the rest of the world wants? Can we please go reflect what reality actually looks like?
Right.
Well, I mean, you know, it's and it's not even just that. It's like, listen, Marvel has a legacy, and they paid tribute to that legacy. They told these great stories of these characters that have been in their, 60, 70 years of history, and we've got some really great films to reflect that. And I never thought in my entire, childhood into young adulthood that I would ever see comic book movies of this scope. And
No, me neither.
Yeah.
And to see the Avengers and such on screen has been fantastic. But now there's great new stories being told, and I'm excited to see those stories make their way onto the screen.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. Totally agree. Like 100% agree with you. So
And maybe we'll get like the female Thor, not Lady Thor, just the other Thor that has a vagina.
you paused right before you said lady. It was
Lady
like,
Thor.
maybe we'll get laid. And I was like, whoa, okay.
No, like, I hate calling her Lady Thor because it's not. It's just Thor. She's just Thor.
Yeah, she's just Thor.
I know, she's just Thor.
I've been calling her Mighty Thor since they changed
Mighty,
the book.
you're right. Good,
Oh,
Mighty
you're
Thor.
right. Yeah,
That's
Mighty
good.
Thor.
I'm just gonna call her Thor with a vajayjay.
Vajay Thor.
Yeah,
Mighty
Vajay
Thor's
Thor.
right there on the table.
I know.
Yeah.
She's just rocking it. Which I'm very concerned for her future and well-being right now in the comics.
Yeah, me too. So some brand new Spider-Man news came out just today, and that is that according to Deadline, and they seem to be confirming both of these stories, Robert Downey Jr. is reprising his role as Tony Stark in Spider-Man Homecoming, and Michael Keaton is 100% out of the running to be in the film.
So no Michael Keaton as J. Jonah Jameson.
No.
That's really upsetting.
Yeah.
I don't even want to see the movie anymore.
I know, right? I'm done.
Like, I'm out.
So,
Like, nope, never mind.
So I found the source. So Variety was the one who initially reported it.
Oh, did they break it?
Yeah. So, but it hasn't been confirmed by either studio. But I will say Variety, whoever's working there, knows their stuff.
Yeah.
They seem to have their like little fingers in the studios. So I'm going to believe it. I mean,
I
obviously,
believe it.
obviously it hasn't been confirmed, but Variety tends to be pretty much on the ball.
Yeah, no,
So.
I'm on board with it, and I think it's awesome to see Tony Stark in it. So
Iron Spider.
what?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Underoos. I was like,
Underoos!
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So on top of that, we also have news that Spider-Man has added Laura Harrier, I believe is how you pronounce her name, and Tony Revolori. Tony Revolori. Laura Harrier is from One Life to Live. That's probably the only thing that any of us are going to know her from. I watch soap operas all the time, so like I'm all about it. And Tony Revolori was in Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh
so.
yes, I love him.
Nice.
Do we know? I know he's going to be playing like a friend. I think he's not going to be a supervillain. I believe
There are two different. Deadline says he's Peter Parker's nemesis/enemy at high school, but isn't a supervillain.
Okay.
He's just a bully.
Just
Okay.
like a bully, or like I saw like. If you look at this kid, I don't think he can possibly be a bully.
I know.
I think that he could be a really intelligent kid, and the two of them are like fighting for valedictorian. I see him as that sort of a rival, like an intellectual rival. The Rap calls him Peter Parker's friend Manuel.
All right.
Because he looks like a manual.
I guess, like,
Sure.
but I don't know Emmanuel from the comics, so like maybe it's just a role that was written for the film.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, because I first saw it on Deadline and it said Peter Parker's nemesis enemy at high school, but isn't a supervillain. I was like, oh my god, are they making him Amadeus Cho?
Oh,
Like that was my first thought. I was like, oh my god, please, like he doesn't look anything like Amadeus Cho from the comics.
He's not who I thought he was. Sorry.
But like I think that would be.
He is wearing.
amazing.
Look at his shirt, though.
I know.
I know. That's why I
hurt.
chose that picture. That's why I chose
Yeah.
that picture. I was like, "Oh, this is
Sorry,
perfect."
I thought he
It's
was
Deadpool
someone
Spider-Man.
else from Grand Budapest.
No, it's not Ray
so.
Fiennes.
No, it's not Ray Fiennes, but it was his friend that followed, or not? That was the kid, right?
No,
He was
that is the
bellhop.
kid. That's the exact
Yeah,
same
it's
kid.
the bellhop. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought so.
I just have two different pictures of him to
Okay,
see
no, that's what I thought. That's what I thought it was.
to give you some some variety of who he is and what he can be. Yeah, it's that kid, Tony Revolori.
I just don't see them casting. That would be an interesting choice for Amadeus Cho.
I agree, but that was just my first reaction. I was like,
yeah,
oh my god.
Okay, Marvel, like, do we just not like Asians?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
That was like, I was like, maybe he's
is
Amadeus Cho, but
is
then
that just doing?
like,
Hey,
why
guys.
do you hate Asians so
Why?
much, Marvel?
I do have some news that came out since we started.
Since we
talking.
started? What's that?
Sony Pictures has confirmed Robert Downey Jr.
Woo!
Oh, it's
Spider-Man.
confirmed.
Oh, wow.
All right, well there you go.
There we go.
On
That's great.
Twitter.
You heard it. Twitter, Sony Pictures, Robert Downey Jr. in Spider-Man
Confirmed to be in
Homecoming,
it.
Which is really
sorry,
good.
that might be a spoiler for Civil. I don't know if that's a spoiler for Civil War. Or
Yeah,
not,
I think it is.
Sorry, we didn't say
No.
that.
And so who's the
Please
other
don't be mad at
actress
us.
cast?
Laura Harrier. It's
Okay.
this lady right here. Also, like again, it's continuing like very young casting. Like I think she's probably under 20. Here's the deal with her. She's actually an actress and a model.
Ooh.
A lot of the pictures that I found of her were like a lot of modeling pictures.
Mary
so-
Jane Watson calling it.
That's what I hope. Because,
That would be awesome.
Because the Rap says
Yeah.
that she has landed a significant role.
Nice. That would be awesome.
How awesome would she like?
Oh my
like,
God,
if
guys.
you go look up Laura Harrier, a lot of the pictures are like perfect sort of modeling shots and everything. So she's a model and an actress. She's young, and that would be amazing to have like an African American Mary Jane.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sold.
I chose that one because like it
Yeah.
felt like a very natural like, hey, I'm a
Yeah.
high schooler.
Yeah.
And then I chose the other one because she's like, oh, I'm a model. Like,
I like
if,
that
though?
one. No, I mean,
What-
if it's a significant role, it makes sense. I mean,
yeah, it's either that or Gwen Stacy.
Stacey.
yeah.
I mean, significance-wise, or Liz Allen. You know, she could be Liz Allen, but
Yeah.
I
pretty much
gravitated
it.
towards yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much it.
it.
But
Yeah.
I gravitated towards MJ just because
Model.
she's a model. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that would be amazing. Or maybe she's just like a random wacky character that they created just for the script. But it says significant role, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that would be amazing. What do you guys think?
What if the other actor is why am I blanking on his name? He becomes Venom.
Eddie Brock?
Eddie Brock.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
There's a little pea coming out of me right now.
And Eddie Brock in the Ultimate Universe was a nebbishy, nerdy kid like
Yeah.
Peter Parker. Like he was in college, but
Yeah.
The first villain, you mean, could be Venom, which would be super cool because
yeah,
Venom's
that would be
awesome.
amazing.
So I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there, guys.
Oh my god, you're right. He could play Eddie Brock from the Ultimate Universe.
Because we're going.
And that would be great casting.
And because what if we're doing Ultimate storyline? Because then that does lead into us getting Miles eventually.
Yeah, well, I think they're going to
Then
follow
we
the
are.
Ultimate because that is
Yeah.
all in high
So
school.
I'm just
and it's
putting
recent and-
that out there.
Interesting.
A lot of the chat is wondering if she's gonna play Felicia Hardy.
I thought that
Oh,
too, but I think
interesting.
I don't think they'd introduce Felicia this early.
And was she in high school with? Was she
Only
a high school contemporary
in
with?
later adaptations where they did like Spider-Man in high school, like kind of like one-offs.
Not necessarily like in continuity sort of thing.
Yeah, I thought too, because she would make a great Felicia Hardy. That was when you first pulled her up. I was like, oh man, I'd love to see her as Black Cat.
Yeah.
But it would be weird bringing her in now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right.
Plus,
Well,
she looks a little too. How old is she?
I don't know. I didn't.
I'm
look
sure
it up.
she's over 21, but Felicia's just such a sexualized character. I don't want someone
Yeah.
looking that
She
young.
looks really young.
Yeah, that would just be too much.
Yeah.
That would be pretty. Yeah, that wouldn't fit. I feel like.
I should say sexual, not sexualized. I mean, I love Felicia Hardy, and I have cosplay Black Cat because she's strong and sexy, and I love her.
Well, let's jump away from Spider-Man
Okay.
and let's finally, Holly, let's talk about Doctor Strange.
Yes.
By the hoary host of Hogan.
Wasn't that from the Spider-Man cartoon?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny. We're both like, oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's from the Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Yep.
First of all, before we get into like the news about the teaser and everything, I want to know your reactions to the trailer. I watched your reaction as you watched it, but you've probably seen it like another 20 or 30 times like I have. You've probably processed a little bit more, looked up a lot more. What are your thoughts? And go. I'm just going to sit here and stare at you for a while.
So I did like a reaction video because I knew I had to. Like I was like, I have to do this because everyone knows that I'm such a huge fan. And the trailer, like, I don't know. It's like that's one thing that's really hard about being such a big fan is that you're really like you really analyze everything.
Yeah.
And so the trailer was very basic. It was just introducing people to the character. It was
Yeah.
just being like, this is the character. Do you like magic?
Yeah.
Do you like weird stuff? Like here you go.
Yeah.
And like there wasn't much to go on story-wise except for his origin story,
Mm-hmm.
which was, you saw his astral form, which I thought was great that they put that in immediately.
Mm-hmm. Because that's such a key thing that he does too.
Exactly, yeah. And that was cool that they put that out there immediately. They showed his car crash where he broke his hands.
Yeah.
You saw him in the hospital. You saw all that kind of stuff, and that was really, really cool. Like I thought it was just very basic, and it was a pretty generic trailer too. There wasn't anything that really like stood out yet. I thought it was really safe. I thought it was a really safe trailer, like to like kind of like a typical. It's got the movie horn. It's got the like, you know what I mean? Like it's got the movie horn. It's got like, it was pretty dark. Although I feel like Doctor Strange isn't that dark.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit like interesting. I think he's more like on like a kind of like spiritual character than like a like dark and gritty character. So I'm gonna like, but my guess is that the movie's going to be more like that.
Yeah.
But this is just marketing. This is showing people this is an exciting superhero movie with weird stuff, and here's a scene of the city falling apart like Inception. There you go. Like,
well, like to build off of what you're saying, like I see Doctor Strange as, like we were saying even before the show, he's very like inspired by like sort of like Eastern religion and like Buddhism and stuff like that. So I've always seen him as like not a dark character, but he's a very bright and wonderful and hopeful character fighting in a very dark, gritty, awful, terrifying world. Like,
and sometimes he loses hope in himself, and that's really his biggest challenge is him losing hope in his abilities and thinking that he's a bad person, pretty much.
Well, I mean, like one of my favorite. This is completely off topic. One of my favorite moments with Doctor Strange is in World War Hulk, where he like summons the power of like Dormammu to
crazy,
beat Hulk, and like he's winning. He's like, okay, I'm gonna put an end to this, but then he realizes just what he's done and like how much of his soul he's just sold in order to do this, and like then he like lets Hulk crush his hands again and relinquishes being Sorcerer Supreme because he's like, I can't summon dark magic like that.
Yeah.
So
that was interesting, and that's kind of the wrestle that the current Marvel universe has once they started pretty much reintroducing him into the comics of dealing with his magic and how powerful that can be. Yeah,
like in the Illuminati like New Avengers run that they did with Hickman, like when they fight, like, and I've talked about this on the show 1,000 times, but like when they fight like the Justice League analog on that like other Earth, and the Justice League like beats the relentless crap out of the Avengers until he's like he goes up to the Dr. Fate guy and he's like, oh, you at best you're a curator of artifacts, and like rips the helmet off him. He's like, I know the words, and he like summons Cthulhu to like eat the entire planet. You're just like, and like all the Avengers are like, oh Jesus, oh my God, he can what? He could have done what?
Yeah.
Like Doctor Strange, he's
That happens a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it's happened, like, quite a few times.
Yeah, like
He, like, magic punched Galactus, like, once.
Wait, I don't think I know this.
Yeah, he,
What?
like, magic punched Galactus. I saved the frame at one point. It was, like, someone tweeted it out, and I was like, oh, yeah, that happened.
Do you remember what comic? Like,
I don't
what
remember
volume
which one
that
it was. I'll have to find it, but I saved, like, the tweet and the picture, because I was like, that's right.
That to me
That's going to
feels
be my
like,
example of how he's so awesome.
Yeah, that to me is like a volume 3, like early 90s sort of.
Yeah,
thing.
not when he was like in the trench coat with the long hair though, because that was. There's like oh my god, there's so.
Oh
many.
wait.
Yeah, there he is, magic punching Galactus.
Wow, Doom,
Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
Oh
he's
man,
super
I
fast.
totally called it. That is so early 90s.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
That's
You
so
you can
good.
just tell. You
You
can just tell.
Yeah.
Doom's gonna pull that up on the screen.
It's really
soon.
depending on his facial hair.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me read this. Did you see these quotes from the screenwriter Robert Cargill?
No, I didn't.
All right. So talking about what you were saying with the teaser, the screenwriter C. Robert Cargill, who is Scott Derrickson's writing partner, who Scott Derrickson brought in on the project, he says this teaser it's the definition of a teaser.
Yeah.
You were only getting getting a small taste of just how crazy this movie actually gets. We have only just the slightest hints of magic in there. There are major characters you don't even glimpse in that trailer. There's so much stuff going on that this thing is just nutty. The stuff they let us do, I can't believe they let us do it. Just like Kevin Feige and other producers like Steven Broussard would be like, how can we make it crazier? And I was like, all right, let's play around. It's just a hell of an experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
because Wong wasn't in the trailer.
Wong wasn't in the trailer. We didn't see
I don't know if-
Nicodemus West.
Exactly, and I don't know if Clea's involved in this movie. I don't know.
Yeah, they haven't
Like-
announced casting if she is. I have a feeling that we will glimpse her, or
Yeah,
at least
we'd
hear her
have to.
name
Like
or
we'd
something.
have to.
Yeah,
I feel like because that's such a big part of the Dark Dimension. Like
yeah. Though maybe they'll introduce her the same way they did in the Strange Tales comics, and we won't actually know her name for like
That's true,
10
yeah.
issues.
Ooh,
He'll
that's
just be
true.
like, "Who's this interesting blonde
I
in this
know, I
Dark
know.
Dimension?
I
who
love that.
Dormammu's after. I've got to figure this out." Like, yeah.
That was so ridiculous.
So there's a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're gonna do a trailer before or after Civil War.
I think around Civil War
yeah.
we're gonna get like a full
Trailer, yeah.
trailers. So like, and like I said this when the trailer broke like last week or a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is very much like, hey, so Doctor Strange is a weird, wacky
Right, yeah.
character to like 99.9% of the rest of the population
Right.
on Earth. Here's a very loose primer on who he is.
Yeah.
He's a superhero. There's magic. The scope is epic. Like, you're seeing realities fold in on itself. But I think like with this next trailer, they're going to be like, all right, but here's who he really is.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think we're probably going to see a lot more magic. I think we're going to see a lot more showdown. Like, because the trailer came out a week after they wrapped production.
Right.
You know, so like everything that we saw was like very early on in the
Very
process.
early. Yeah, it had to be.
Because like the scenes of him like walking through like the Tibetan areas and stuff like that. I remember those pictures breaking.
Oh
in,
yeah,
like,
I remember like months
November.
ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was watching that. I was just like, oh, there's pictures. Like I was so excited.
Yeah,
But,
like seeing the bandages on his hands and stuff like that there. Yeah, I'm trying to... There was one other quote that I kind of wanted to pull out. He says, man, sorry, forgive me. Oh, okay. Here's the one that I really like. And this goes back to what Joss Whedon was saying earlier. Marvel is aware that several of their movies are starting to feel cluttered. There's a joke that these movies are all essentially 2-hour-long commercials for their next 2-hour-long commercial.
Oh my god.
But then he says, like, have no fear. That's not what Marvel, want this to be.
Oh,
Interesting.
good.
That's
and
good.
Yeah.
In fact, there was no pressure for, hey, can you add this character in? Can you tie it into this event or this or that? The only pressure they got was to do something, this is the quote, to do something different and fresh. The fact that this trailer looks unlike everything else is what they would really like Phase 3 and Phase 4 to be. They want these movies to run the gamut of looks and feels. They don't want that one Marvel look and feel.
That's good.
Good.
Yeah.
And they want these characters to exist in their own worlds. So
Yeah.
it sounds like maybe Phase 3 will be like Doctor Strange is maybe aware of the Avengers. Maybe
Yeah.
he meets one or two of them, but like it's not like, oh, we've got to set up Thor Ragnarok and
right,
Doctor
yeah.
Strange.
Everything needs to tie in together, guys.
Yeah.
It's all loose. That's all it ever has to be. And I think that was sort of some of the weakness of Phase 2 and maybe like of fan expectations. We were expecting like oh, come on, like he's fighting the Mandarin, go call the Avengers. Like
I
he
know.
can't do that, you know. So like our expectations were maybe a little bit off, but
Even when they mentioned him in the Captain America Winter Soldier, and they
Yeah.
mentioned I was so excited. I had no idea
Yeah.
they were going to mention him, but
Just that alone is
just
worth
that
it.
alone, and that makes you think that his timeline is a different timeline, because at that point when Winter Soldier was happening, he was already the Sorcerer Supreme. They knew who he was.
Yeah.
So this somehow is going to have to be before that.
Yeah, well, like I heard rumors last year that some of the one of the drafts of the script sees Dr. Stephen Strange, the physician, watching the news of the Avengers, and then like soon after that event happens, like that's when he gets in his car accident or something like that.
Right.
You know,
Interesting.
so like all of the events of like Phase 2 happening. Is when his story is more or less taking place.
So yeah, so like he's the doctor during like the New York incident. Then
He's still like just a
Doctor-
neurosurgeon.
Yeah, Doctor
Right.
Strange.
During the incident in New York, and then
Yeah.
like presumably by Winter Soldier, like a year or two later,
later.
he's
That makes
Interesting.
sense.
the
Yeah.
sorcerer, or at least like
Yeah.
a sorcerer
Yeah.
that lives
Yeah.
in Manhattan,
That's
because we don't
cool.
know what happens to the ancient one in this
Yeah.
one. So, I like that like hearing that. You okay, Mary?
No, I just have to keep
You have to
sneezing.
sneeze, I know.
It's allergy season here.
Hearing that like killed me. I was
Yeah.
like I knew going into it. I was like, of course it's going to be a lot more than what that teaser showed.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, and like as much as you and I know the character, of course it's that, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No, I expected his origin, but like the scene at the end with him walking up to his window, the anomaly room or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the
there's
window
like
of the
5
world.
different
Yeah, there's
names
there's
for it.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it was so awesome. That was the best scene of the whole thing, because the intro and his like, oops, sorry, Mike, his origin story like is just very like it's an origin story, like
Yeah.
and it's like, and how they do it is going to be different than the comics, and you can already tell it is, because
Yeah.
obviously the ancient one is Tilda Swinton,
Yeah.
which I love Tilda Swinton. Who cares?
Yeah.
like she's amazing and weird and it's great, but like how they take it after that,
Yeah.
that's really what I'm curious about, and that trailer didn't show any of that.
Didn't
So,
show any
Yeah.
of that. Like I even said last week, I think I think what we saw in the trailer is like the first 20 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen anything from
No.
Act 2 at all.
No, because you see him like from the scenes from set that everyone has made GIFs out of, which is
Yeah.
amazing. I've
I
like
love it.
retweeted every
Oh,
single
it's the
one.
best. I
it's
love it.
like, oh my god, that was like internet Christmas for me. It was just like Doctor Strange.
That's what it
jumping
felt like to
around,
me.
he was
Yeah.
just jumping around. And he was like just being like photoshopped into like rocket ships, and like it was amazing.
It was the best. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, the world is learning about Doctor Strange. I'm so happy for everybody.
I know. I used to scour the internet for even just like one little tidbit of information. And it's just so awesome to be able to get like freaking gifs of him dancing around like a crazy person.
Oh
like
my
it's
God.
awesome.
And like we have so many fans, and I love this. Like we have so many fans who come to us and say like they love Doctor Strange because of our show.
That's awesome.
That they like every single week I'll get a couple of tweets of people like, I went and bought The Oath, or I went and bought Jason Aaron's
The
current
Oath.
run. Like,
The Oath
you
is
know,
always my go-to, and you saw that picture of Benedict Cumberbatch holding it. I was like, someone told him to buy The Oath.
Yeah.
That would have been me.
Yeah, no, I would have done the same
I would've done
thing.
the same thing. And you can see him holding. He's got the scars on
The
his
scars
hand.
on his hands, he still has them.
Yeah, I was just like, this is so awesome. And you
Yeah.
know, he's a Buddhist too.
Really?
Benedict Cumberbatch, yeah.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
just like, because at first I was real skeptical. I was like, I don't know about badminton tennis match being Doctor Strange. I don't know how I feel about this. And then like I read an article from like some Buddhist magazine that
Yeah.
like he was in, and I was like, oh, he like actually is like all over this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
cool.
In fact, one of the things that called him to the role, like when he first
Mm-hmm.
really started looking into it, probably like, I think Marvel reached out to him like 4 or 5
Oh, for
years
sure,
ago,
yeah.
And his schedule just didn't match because of like Star Trek and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been holding on to doing the film because they wanted him. Like they looked at other
Wow.
actors, but like at least that's the rumor that I heard,
Yeah.
is that they were so hungry to get Cumberbatch for the role that they were just like, well, we'll just hold off on production for another couple of years.
Yeah.
But he actually, out of college, went and studied in like Tibet or something like that.
That's
like,
awesome.
Like did like an
Oh my
exchange program
gosh.
sort of thing. Like learned Buddhism over there.
Yeah.
Like his story in some ways is already
exactly,
very
yeah.
much like, it's like Straczynski's Strange.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh, I'm gonna go be an exchange doctor in this area and learn how to like take care of people like for free.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
like he did that already. So when he saw Doctor Strange do that, he's like, Hey, well, I've done that, so I can act that. Yes,
Yeah, and his American accent is very good.
I love it.
In the trailer, I was
Yeah.
like,
I
"This
love
is
it.
awesome!" Like he did a really
Yeah,
good job.
like I had to go back and listen to it a couple times.
Yeah,
Like,
'cause you don't know it's him. You're
That's
just
him,
like,
right? Like that's
oh.
like I think I've already said it, you know. So forgive me for repeating myself, listeners. But his voice, like even his voice, like just the tonal quality of his voice,
Yeah.
is like burnout, world weary, but still like full of himself and full of ego and like just narcissistic and just like. Oh my! Just the tenor of his voice. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I know. Oh, you're a dick."
I knew already. I was like, his voice is perfect. I already
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Like, but I had to be sold on like him being in the role because I'm like, it's hard when you're such a big fan. Like
Yeah.
when someone gets cast as someone and you're such a big fan, you're just like, how is this okay?
Yeah.
This guy's also Sherlock. That's awful. But after seeing the trailer and like, you know, seeing all this stuff about it, I don't know. It feels like so much of a better fit now.
Yeah, I cannot wait to hear him just like by the holy hosts of Hoggett. Like
I know.
I cannot.
He's
wait
gonna
to
do it.
hear-
He has to.
He has
Like,
to.
yeah.
He had like Kevin Feige's actually, or maybe it was a Feige, because Broussard, Feige, or Derrickson, one of the three, said that like, how do you like one of the challenges of casting for this role is finding a man who you believe him when he says
Right.
these nonsensical alliterative phrases.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
like that Stan Lee was just like, I need him to say something. Flames of the Faulty. Winds of Watomb. That sounds mystical.
That
You
sounds
know,
mystical.
like so. In fact, if you get the Doctor Strange animated movie, there's a
yeah.
great like 7-minute documentary on Doctor Strange, and they interview Stan Lee in
Is
that.
it on the
No.
DVD?
It's on. I think it might be on the DVD. I
Nice.
know I bought it on iTunes and I watched it there.
Oh, cool. 'Cause I have it. I didn't know it had that. I'll
Yeah,
have to
double check it
out.
to see if it's like 7 minutes. It's great.
That's
it's
awesome.
amazing.
Does Stanley just kind of say like?
Yeah, no, Stan Lee says that. He's like, I needed for him to say something mystical. And I thought, you know, like, I don't even know what I said, but like whims of Watomb. Like, I was just like, oh my God.
God.
Like, he just like willingly admits, he's like, this is nonsense. I'm just a
Oh, I
turkey.
love it.
It's so funny.
All right, we've got to move on, but as our super duper special Doctor Strange guest, is there anything else you want to say? Like, do you have reading recommendations beyond the Oath? Like,
oh man.
too many to
I
say?
mean, the old stuff that's drawn by Steve Ditko is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
read through
That
the
old Strange Tale
I'd say
stuff?
his comics, like all of the older stuff, really does hold up.
Yeah.
Because it's so weird and it's so like psychedelic already that's and the anthology is being re-released and all that. So check that out. The new run is amazing.
Jason Aaron is killing
the
it.
new run is amazing, and that's so good because I feel like they lost, like with the Bendis run, kind of lost a lot of his like mystical stuff, but the new run has just been absolutely awesome. There's a tiki bar, which I love tiki bars, so I mean,
Yes.
we've already
The
got
bar with no
the bar
doors?
with no doors.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
that made me. I was like telling my
it.
friend we were in a tiki bar, and I was like, Doctor Strange hangs out in a tiki bar, and we hang out in tiki bars. We're awesome.
Bring me a mulatto.
Yeah.
I just feel for your birthday party, Holly. We need to go have at
God.
a Doctor Strange themed tiki bar party
that
for
would,
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be so amazing. But yeah, so the new run is awesome. I read it on the app on my phone, and I also had to show off we're phone buddies.
Oh yes,
Oh,
yes,
we're
you
phone
have
buddies.
it off your phone.
We
Yeah,
both have
into
Doctor Strange.
Shambhala.
Yeah, and I've just got, I don't even know which issue this. It's one of the older ones.
Yeah.
When he's
So
wearing
cool.
blue pants. It's the blue pants run.
Blue pants run.
Yeah.
Let me see.
It's the. I'm very in tune with his costumes. There was the mask run, the blue pants run. There was the
Doctor
like.
Strange. That's that might be Bill Everett,
Okay, yeah,
like middle 70s.
yeah. I know. So it definitely looks the blue pants. Whenever that's
Yeah.
my. That's
Yeah.
how I remember
I love
issues.
So let's cover Twitter super duper fast. Eric Opperman, we have to say goodbye to.
Why?
It's been fun, but I'll never see a live show again because of my new admissions job at university. So
Oh.
he got a new job. Strange birthday. Oh, you got a special shout out.
Better than a sexy shout.
That is. We'll have to record that. And just, not sure how much I'll get to. Everyone should try and watch this meeting hell. But
Thank you,
for
Ren.
that. We appreciate that. We've got one question, but I want to
Okay.
get to this first.
Sure. I want to read this because it's awesome.
It's really awesome.
awesome.
And Colt Badeau brought this to our
Yeah.
attention. Colt Badeau is our social media manager, tweeting from the Starjammer
On the fifth chair.
from the fifth chair of the desk. Thank you, Colt.
Dear Marvel Movie News, over the last few months, I've become seriously addicted to you show after show after I stumbled across it on iTunes after a long search to find a great podcast that had everything I needed, aka Marvel Comics, Marvel movies, and in-depth discussion about all Marvel-related things. And you guys have truly taken about in my weekly life in every week. Cannot wait to listen to your show. You guys are so much a part of my life now that when the Doctor Strange trailer dropped, I thought, oh gosh, Matt is going to love this. And when I had my first chimichanga, I knew Coy would be so proud of me. And when Miss Placca was away after 2 shows, I thought, okay, enough is enough. When is she coming back? I'm back. So again, guys, thank you so much for what you do and the passion you have for Marvel. And I honestly consider you guys friends, even though we have never met. Lots of love, Andrew Van Dorn. Also, P.S., considering getting a Spider-Man tattoo of him walking away, back turned, but looking over his shoulder and as he walks away. Coy, this is for Coy, and we'll ask Coy when he comes back, what Spider-Man costume is the best costume in your opinion from the comics? And he wants a shout out because he loves us. And squirrel the haters who say our show is immature. They don't know greatness when they hear him. The fools! Also, Doom, love your voice, brother. Stay strong, my American superhero podcast team, because he is from Perth, Australia.
Oh my gosh.
What was his
where
name?
My husband's from. Is
Really?
Perth.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Really?
I
Shout
love
out to,
Perth.
we're gonna be there.
Yeah. Oh,
in
really?
June?
Oh,
Yeah.
for the con. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
yeah, and
this-
visiting parents.
Supernova?
Yeah, we're gonna be
so-
there visiting parents.
So this is for Andrew Van Dorn. Huge shout out, man.
Huge shout out. Thank you, Andrew.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Perth and that lovely. That's such a kind worded.
It really
email.
is.
So
And
sweet.
Very nice.
Yeah, and please go see Holly and her husband when they're out of the show, because I've been wanting to go check out one of the
I would love to
Australian
go to
shows.
Supernova.
They're
That
so
sounds
great.
like a
awesome.
great
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun. But
So Brent's friend on our live chat, this is the first time I've had a chance to look at the live chat. He asks Matt, do a sexy Doctor Strange voice. So what was our friend's name?
Andrew Van Dorn.
Andrew Van Dorn. I'm going to meet both of these. Wow, I get the chicka chicka? All
Oh my
right.
God.
All right.
amazing. That's kind of perfect for Doctor Strange.
Andrew Van Dorn, by the hoary hosts of Hoggith. Thank you for that sweet, sweet tweet. By the Vishanti. How was that? Was that good?
Oh,
That was good.
oh, that's very
thank you.
good.
Good. I think you need to
Rub my
up your
eye back on my
mustache
over here.
game.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
need to
You need to,
definitely.
you need to have a bigger
Yeah.
mustache for that.
That was so good.
So yeah, I apologize. Coy's typically on the live chat. He's not here, and I haven't had a chance to
Yeah.
look. But yeah, so I think we've got time for like this really quick question. This comes from Danzig1979 at Danzig1979. Would love to hear your thoughts if Netflix started making the darker MCU films Disney can't or won't make, such as Black Widow, Blade, Hawkeye, Morbius, Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, smaller budget, R rating, less risk, built-in Marvel audience. Thoughts? I think they're probably going to do a lot of that stuff
Yeah.
on Netflix.
think-
I know Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner has said he would love to do a Netflix series.
I just as long
be
as
awesome.
as long as it's that new Hawkeye stuff on based on Fraction, I
Fraction?
want Fraction Hawkeye.
Yeah, and that
all
would
I
be a
want.
great way to bring in Kate Bishop also,
Yeah.
like into the MCU, and then maybe segue her into the
Yeah.
cinematic universe. I don't know that we'll get Morbius because vampires might be a little too weird
Well,
to throw
if we get
in.
if we get Blade, we'll get Morbius.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I think Blade is actually a strong
Yeah, I think
possibility.
Blade
So
is gonna happen,
I'm
yeah.
going to eat my words and say Morbius. I think we're definitely going to get Moon Knight.
Yes.
I feel
Oh,
like
for
he's
sure.
Yes, he's
like I
Yeah.
feel like we'll
He's
probably introduce
unknown,
him.
but he's also super cool.
Yeah.
So it's like they're gonna probably do it.
Yeah, and like I love the fact that he like wears white. Like he's insane. He's schizophrenic, and he wears white because he wants the bad guys to know he's coming. Like
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool. So anyway, do you have anything else?
yeah, actually, Caleb B actually asked.
Caleb B!
So no, this is really great. He actually it's a multi-tweet, but basically he wants to know like, what's the angst about people addressing the new Thor as Lady Thor? And I think it just comes down to like an internet culture is that a lot of people who have been addressing her as Lady Thor have been doing it in a very disrespectful way. So there's just been a little bit of a pushback, and I think at one point there was a Lady Thor. So it's
There was.
yeah. So this particular version of Thor, and even in the comics, they make a big point. She's like, I'm not Lady Thor, I'm just Thor. But it is very difficult because when you talk about Thor, we're talking about Odin's son. We're talking about Thor. It's very difficult when we're talking about Jane as Thor. So it's hard and it's confusing and I get tripped up myself.
But so who was the original Thor? Like, what was his earthly? It was Blake or
Donald Blake.
Donald Blake.
Donald
But then
Blake.
Eric Masterson also became Thor.
It's so
and we
messed
never
up.
called him Eric Thor.
I know.
It was just
Eric
Thor.
Thor, exactly.
It wasn't Thor Masterson.
I know,
it
but
was,
if
it was Thor. It was Thor.
Yeah.
The Thor power inherited
I know,
inhabited
but it's
someone
so
else.
hard because
so
we're talking about Thor in the movies. We're talking about Chris Hemsworth Thor, and if we talk about Thor in the comics, it's obviously Jane. I keep wanting to call her Jane Austen, and obviously that's not right, because I have Pride and Prejudice on my brain. So I think for all intents and purposes, I don't think there's any angst when you call her Lady Thor respectfully. I think the real problem is there are just some people on the internet when the comic came out and the change happened, they were just being very disrespectful and just taking a giant poop all over it.
What I'm curious about is, did the same thing happen when Lady Loki came out?
No, not at all.
Because that was just Loki deciding that he was a lady.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm a girl now, and they're like, cool.
I want boobies.
Everyone's like,
And by
cool.
the way, I think that's probably what they're doing with the ancient one. I think the ancient one is like,
Exactly.
oh, I'm a girl now.
Well, yeah, and the ancient one is a mystical figure anyway, so
Yeah.
it's like
And
I
so is
wasn't.
Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't weirded out, and I love Tilda Swinton because
Yeah.
she's just awesome.
She's
so.
an amazing actress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only reason I tripped up is that I'm trying to be respectful of my fan base in one area of comics, because I have been conditioned to not call her Lady Thor, but I get tripped up and I just want to call her Lady Thor because it makes it easier. So I don't know, guys. I'm confused. I don't know where I stand either, so don't feel bad. If you call her Lady Thor and you're not being a jerk about it, call her Lady Thor. I don't care. I'm not going to
You
tell
don't
you what
mean
to do.
it's like not.
Yeah.
It's the intent. It's not the phrase.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's phrasing.
Yes.
Phrasing. It's,
Phrasing.
It's a way to identify the specifics of which
Exactly.
Thor you're talking
Yeah.
about.
But then technically Lady Thor is a character.
But Lady Thor is a character, A. And B, like,
Yeah.
like saying Lady Thor almost seems like it's like, you throw a ball like a girl. Like, it's like she's not as powerful or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
as long as that's not how you mean it,
It's fine.
then
it's
don't
parsing,
worry.
but,
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we've probably got to end it because
I
DC.
do.
Like,
Doom wants to prevent riots in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
And talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for 30 seconds.
Oh,
Do it!
yeah,
Together.
please.
This was a fun episode this week. It was a classic TV trope of of like which character is the spy in the building, and like the distrust seating in the Secret Warriors as they actually get this little 4-person band of Secret Warriors together, and by the end it looks like we have an evil Quake on our hands.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Quake.
Spoilers.
Quake being controlled by Hive.
Yeah.
Oh, that's no fun.
And so betraying her teammates, and very much there's a lot of exciting stuff to come with the next 4 episodes, which are being called Fallen Agent, because it looks like we are going to lose a cast member before the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
So there's a lot of cool stuff, and we talked about it over on AfterBuzz TV. So I know we didn't have much time, so you can go over there. We talked about it for a full hour, so you can get a full hour of S.H.I.E.L.D. on our sister network, AfterBuzz TV, or you can always just tweet at me, because I am constantly talking about S.H.I.E.L.D. And we just finished Daredevil over to AfterBuzz too, but at that Zach Wilson, and we can talk S.H.I.E.L.D. Trust me, we'll talk S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh.
All right.
Yay.
Well, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
So DC can come in here. But Holly, thank you for joining us. Where all can we find you? What can we watch you on? Like, how can we get more Holly Conrad in our life?
Yeah, so I'm just on YouTube as Commander Holly, and on Twitter as Holly Conrad and Commander Holly everywhere else. And yeah, just come hang out, just have fun.
And you play video games on
Commander
on
Holly,
the YouTube?
yeah. On Commander Holly, I play video games, and I also do cosplay, and I stream on Twitch also.
Yes.
That's also Commander Holly. So if you just search Commander Holly, that's where everything is. And that's, yeah. And I'm going to be doing a lot of more cosplay stuff and a lot of obvious Doctor Strange stuff as the movie gets closer, because I'm super stoked. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start tuning in.
Well, I'm going to be watching you guys, so.
We'll watch each other.
Yes, we'll watch each other.
You're going to keep me informed, like, of things not Doctor Strange related.
Yeah, well, that is our aim. And I think probably anytime there's a Doctor Strange anything, we're gonna have you come in.
Yeah, I think we have to.
Yeah, because
Or my astral form.
Yeah.
Teach me.
Yes.
That part made me cry.
Yes, I know.
I was in
just
Jimmy
like,
Kimmel, and I was just like, don't cry. I'm in an audience. I'm in a live
Oh,
studio
I was going to be there
audience.
too. I couldn't make it to the Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, they wanted me to go, and I was busy doing my D&D game we had to do a live D&D game.
Yeah.
And I was like, these are my 2 loves. I don't know what to do. It was very difficult, but I had to commit to.
You being married right now is breaking so many nerd hearts, I think. And Meredith, what have you got going on?
I mean, other than like, I have to just say this was a huge treat having you in, Holly, because I love his enthusiasm, but getting to watch you two completely geek out over Doctor Strange. Like, I love seeing people be passionate about what they love. And this was just, I hope the fans enjoyed it as much as I did. So thank you so much for coming on. That's what I have. I mean, I have a lot going on, but this this is really nice to see you guys be so happy about this. So
Thank you. That was very nice
I
of
liked
you.
watching you geek out about Dark Phoenix.
Aw,
I know nothing about Dark Phoenix, and I was like, this is awesome.
Shimon Love. If you guys want to see me talk more about Dark Phoenix, I was on Kim Horcher's Nerd Alert. There's a bunch of videos going up this week on youtube.com/Nerd Alert.
Perfect.
And you can just follow me on Twitter at mplaco.
And I am Matt Key at the Matt Key. You can find. I think my Kevin Smith on Fat Man and Batman with Mark Bernardin did a Doctor Strange trailer review, and I think that just dropped last night. I haven't had a chance to look, but I'm in that one for like 6 minutes.
Nice.
Because they didn't know who Mads Mikkelsen was, so they had me come in and talk about it.
That's amazing.
So you can find me there. Go watch that if you like Kevin Smith and you're a fan of all that stuff, or if you're a fan of me. That's kind of it, I think.
Yeah.
So anyway, special thanks to our social media manager, Colt Badeau, who tweets from the unofficial fifth chair on the Starjammer, which you hate. Please don't forget to subscribe to our show on
It's a
iTunes.
Cyclops thing.
It's a
It's a Summers Family line
Summers
thing.
Family, yeah, I get it. Please don't forget to subscribe to our show on iTunes, Marvel Movie News. Rate us and leave us a comment, and Coy will read it next week. He loves to do that. Also, we're on YouTube. Please don't forget to subscribe to our show there through the Popcorn Talk Network. And comment. We try to read the comments as much as we can. Find us on Facebook at /Marvel News Show and at Twitter at Marvel News PTN. Thank you so much for joining us from Marvel Movie News, Matt Key, Meredith, and Holly. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Kristian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.
All right, hey. All right, good job, guys. Let's just not come in tomorrow. Let's just take a day.